As the colossal shadow of the USS Vindicator glided through the star-studded expanse near the Andromeda Galaxy, Captain Alara Miles stood transfixed by the panoramic view of deep space from her command deck. The stars, like scattered diamonds on black velvet, beckoned with the allure of ancient secrets and uncharted worlds. Yet, beneath the serene display, a storm brewed within Alara, a tempest of anticipation and trepidation. Born on a space colony where the skies told tales of cosmic adventures and diplomatic enigmas, she had dreamed of nothing but steering humanity towards the stars, towards peace. Now, as she faced the unexplored territories of a new galaxy, her resolve was tested by the enormity of the void and the weight of what her mission might discover or provoke. The USS Vindicator, a marvel of human engineering, hummed with the quiet intensity of anticipation. Its sleek, angular design was fortified by layers of advanced alloys and energy shields, making it a formidable vessel in both exploration and combat. As Alara walked through the corridors, the soft thrum of the ship's engines vibrated under her feet, a constant reminder of the ceaseless journey ahead. Her crew, a diverse tapestry of Earth's sons and daughters, worked diligently at their stations, their faces a mix of concentration and curiosity. "Status report," Alara called out, her voice cutting through the low murmur of operations. Lieutenant Harrow, her second-in-command, approached with a datapad in hand. "All systems are green, Captain. We've just entered the sector. Sensors are at maximum range, and so far, it's quiet," Harrow reported, his eyes flickering with a spark of the unknown. Alara nodded, her gaze returning to the void outside. This mission was her dream, but it carried the weight of potential first contacts and the spectral risk of cosmic threats. Her heart raced with the dual drums of excitement and fear. Each discovery could bridge worlds or invite conflict. As the Vindicator sailed deeper into the uncharted system, a sudden flicker on the sensor panel caught the attention of the crew. "Captain, we're picking up something. It's not just space debris," Harrow announced, tension rising in his voice. Alara's pulse quickened as she approached the main display. The screen painted a picture of the unknown, amorphous shadows that hinted at hidden watchers in the dark. "Enhance the image. Let's see what the stars are hiding from us." The crew leaned in as the shadows coalesced into the distinct, sleek contours of a ship, unlike any human design. Alara felt a chill cascade down her spine. They were not alone, and whoever or whatever was out there had seen them coming. The story of discovery and diplomacy, of fear and fortitude, had just begun. As the silent silhouette of the alien vessel loomed larger, Alara Miles knew that the choices made in the coming days would define the future of humanity among the stars. Her mission was clear, her resolve unwavering. She would face the unknown, for it was in the heart of space that humanity's true test lay. The ghostly image of the unknown vessel hung suspended on the main display like a specter from an otherworldly dream. A hush fell over the bridge of the USS Vindicator as the crew absorbed the reality of their discovery. The alien ship, with its unusual, flowing lines that suggested both elegance and stealth, seemed to blend seamlessly into the cosmic tapestry behind it. It was a design completely foreign to human aesthetics, its surface shimmering with an iridescent sheen that reflected the starlight with an almost ethereal quality. Captain Alara Miles stood rigid, her eyes locked on the screen. The muscles in her jaw clenched as she fought back the swell of emotions, excitement mingled with a palpable tension that seemed to thicken the air around her. She knew the protocols for first contact, rehearsed them 1,000 times in simulations and drills, but facing the real possibility of encountering a new sentient species was a far cry from theoretical exercises. "Lieutenant Harrow, open a channel. Broadcast on all standard diplomatic frequencies," Alara instructed, her voice steady despite the racing of her heart. "Begin with the first contact protocol greetings. Universal translation enabled." Harrow nodded, his fingers dancing over the controls with practiced ease. The hum of the communication system filled the bridge, a signal sent into the void, carrying with it the hope of peaceful interaction. Minutes stretched into what seemed like hours as they waited for a response. The alien ship remained motionless, a silent enigma that offered no clue as to its intentions or the thoughts of those it carried. The crew of the Vindicator watched and waited, every sensor attuned to the slightest change in the situation. Finally, the communication panel crackled to life, a signal breaking through the static. The sound that emerged was disjointed at first, a cacophony of clicks and words that gradually morphed into a rough approximation of Galactic Standard English, the voice distinctly synthesized. "Vessel of Earth origin, why do you trespass in Creolaxian domain without announcement or accord?" Alara took a deep breath, stepping closer to the communication device. This is Captain Alara Miles of the USS Vindicator, representing the United Earth Alliance. We are explorers, seeking to learn about the cosmos and establish peaceful relations with all sentient beings. We apologize for any unintended trespass. Our mission is peaceful. The response from the alien ship was delayed, leaving a heavy silence hanging in the air. When it came, the voice was cold, measured. Your presence in this sector is not welcome. The Krelax Confederation protects its borders with utmost seriousness. Explain your technologies and weaponry immediately. The request was direct, a clear indication of the Krelaxians' priorities and concerns. Alara knew that much rested on her next words. Transparency could foster trust, but too much information might pose a risk to the Vindicator and her crew if the Krelaxians were hostile. We are equipped for defense but not seeking conflict, Alara replied carefully. Our ship houses standard navigational and research technologies designed for deep space exploration. We are willing to share information about our scientific missions and our culture in the spirit of cooperation and mutual understanding. Back on the Vindicator, the crew remained tense, monitoring the alien ship's every reaction. The Krelaxian vessel, now known to be a part of a larger confederation, had not made any aggressive moves, but the atmosphere was charged, a delicate dance of diplomacy playing out in the silence of space. As the negotiations continued, Alara felt the weight of her responsibility as a bridge between worlds. Her choices would either open the door to a new era of interstellar relations or plunge her crew into the depths of an unprecedented crisis. The balance of peace teetered on the edge of a knife, each moment critical, each decision carrying the weight of history in its wake. Aboard the Krelaxian stealth ship, concealed within the shadow of an asteroid, Commander Zorth watched the human vessel with a predatory intensity. His ship, the Silent Claw, was a masterpiece of Krelaxian engineering, designed to be nearly invisible against the backdrop of space, its surface a mottled gray that mimicked the texture of the asteroids they often hit among. Inside, the atmosphere was tense, the air filled with the soft hum of the ship's stealth systems and the low murmur of his crew at their stations. Zorth's eyes, a piercing shade of amber, flickered with a light that mirrored the stars outside. He was a being shaped by the harsh realities of space. His skin bore the silver scars of past battles, and his demeanor was as cold as the void itself. His race had long viewed the expanding frontier of human space with suspicion and veiled hostility, seeing in humanity's rapid technological advancements a threat to the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Maintain cloaking, he ordered in a voice that brooked no argument. Scan their ship again. I want every piece of data you can extract. They claim peace, but we shall see what secrets their hull conceals. His technical officer, a wiry Krelaxian named Silith, worked feverishly, his fingers a blur over the luminescent control panel. Scans are showing advanced propulsion systems, energy shields stronger than any we've encountered in human designs before, and there's something else. It appears they have a form of quantum communication technology. Zorth's brow furrowed, the implications of such technology not lost on him. Quantum communication could mean real-time strategy sharing across vast distances, a capability that could tip the scales in a conflict. Interesting, he murmured, his mind racing with strategies and countermeasures. Turning to his communications officer, he gave his next command. Send a message to the High Command. Inform them of these developments, and request guidance on how to proceed. As the message was dispatched into the depth of space, Zorth turned his attention back to the human ship. The USS Vindicator, with its sleek lines and pulsing energy, looked more like a creature of space than a mere ship. It was both beautiful and formidable, a symbol of human ingenuity and their desire to reach into the unknown. In a quieter moment, away from the ears of his crew, Zorth spoke to his second-in-command, a seasoned warrior named Trelv. These humans, they are not the simple explorers they claim to be. We must be vigilant. Prepare the crew for a possible engagement. If talks fail, we may need to strike quickly. Trelv nodded, his expression grim. Understood, Commander. I will see to the preparations. Back on the Silent Claw, the crew moved with renewed purpose, each member aware that the next few hours could determine the fate of their ship and perhaps the balance of power in their sector. Meanwhile, Zorth stood alone, watching the human ship, his mind a whirlwind of scenarios. In the grand chessboard of galactic politics, the Vindicator was not just a pawn, it could be a queen, moving silently but deadly across the board. As the Silent Claw continued its silent vigil, the stars above bore witness to the unfolding drama, a dance of diplomacy and danger that could either bridge two civilizations or ignite a conflict that would echo through the stars. Back on the USS Vindicator, The bridge was a crucible of tension and expectation. Captain Alara Miles paced slowly before the main view screen, her eyes fixed on the starlit canvas of space where the Krealaxian ship hid in stealth. The crew watched her, finding a measure of calm in her composed demeanor despite the undercurrents of anxiety that threatened to surface. "Keep broadcasting our diplomatic credentials and maintain our defensive posture," Alara instructed, her voice a controlled blend of authority and reassurance. "We need to show them we're not a threat but also not defenseless." Her communications officer, a young ensign named Jiro, nodded. "Still broadcasting on all frequencies, Captain. No new responses since their last communication." Alara's mind raced as she considered her options. The Krealaxians were known for their militant isolationism and advanced cloaking technology, which made them formidable and unpredictable. Establishing a dialogue was crucial, not only for the success of their mission but potentially for averting a broader conflict. As if on cue, the communication panel buzzed to life again, the voice of Commander Zorth piercing the bridge's relative quiet. "Captain Miles, you speak of peace, yet you traverse deep into the heart of Krealaxian space uninvited. What assurances can you offer that your intentions are as benign as you claim?" Stepping closer to the microphone, Alara replied, "Commander Zorth, I understand your concerns. We are explorers, not conquerors. We propose a meeting, ship to ship, to discuss our missions and hopefully establish a mutual understanding. We are prepared to share data on our scientific and exploratory objectives in this sector." There was a lengthy pause, a void of silence that seemed to stretch into eternity. Finally, Zorth's voice returned, colder yet tinged with a cautious curiosity. "A face-to-face meeting is premature. However, we will consider your proposal. Transmit your scientific data first. We will review it and decide if your assurances hold merit." "Transmission prepared and sending now," Jiro confirmed, as he uploaded files detailing their astrometric scans, biological research, and the cultural exchange objectives that underscored the United Earth Alliance's commitment to peaceful exploration. The data streamed across the void, digital packets of information that held within them the potential seeds of peace or the sparks of confrontation. Alara watched the transmission indicators flicker, each pulse sending more of their knowledge to the scrutinizing eyes of a potential adversary. Meanwhile, the crew of the Vindicator waited in a collective breathhold. Alara turned to face them, her gaze sweeping across the room. "Stay sharp, everyone. This is the delicate part of our mission. How we handle this interaction could set the tone for relations between humanity and the Krealaxian Confederation for generations to come." Her chief science officer, Dr. Lena Briggs, approached with a tablet showing the data packet's status. "All information has been sent, Captain. Now it's up to them to decide how to respond." Alara gave a curt nod, her mind already racing through scenarios and contingencies. Diplomacy was much like chess, each move critical, each response carrying weight. In the deep silence of space, as they awaited the Krealaxian response, the USS Vindicator seemed like a small island of light and life floating in an immense, dark ocean, an ocean where currents unseen could change the fate of all who sailed its mysterious depths. On board the Silent Claw, the atmosphere was charged with a palpable tension as data from the USS Vindicator streamed in. The crew, under Commander Zorth's strict supervision, dissected the information with an efficiency born of necessity and wariness. The holographic displays around the command center were aglow with swirling images of star maps, biological specimens, and complex algorithms, all pieces of humanity's expansive quest into the cosmos. Zorth stood over the central console, his eyes narrowing as he reviewed the human ship's scientific missions. His mind, trained for warfare and strategy, struggled to find the hidden angles and potential threats within the data. "Enhance this section," he commanded, pointing to a segment of the genetic research data. "They have capabilities in genetic engineering that could be weaponized if altered for malicious intent." His science officer, a keen-eyed female named Pelora, adjusted the display. "I see no evidence of militarization in these files, Commander. Their focus appears to be purely exploratory." Despite her words, her voice held a note of caution, aware of the stakes at hand. Meanwhile, back on the Vindicator, Captain Miles and her senior staff gathered around the strategy table, a sleek surface that projected the latest scans of the Krealaxian ship and the surrounding space. "Keep monitoring any changes in their ship's posture," Alara instructed. "If they're planning something, I want to know immediately." Alara then turned to her diplomatic advisor, a seasoned officer named Hammond. "Prepare a brief on cultural exchange protocols. If they agree to talk, we need to show we understand and respect their customs. It might help ease their fears about our presence here." Back on the Silent Claw, Zorith received an encrypted transmission from the Krealaxian High Command. His jaw set firmly as he read the directive. The High Command was clear. He was to continue assessing the threat level but avoid open conflict unless absolutely necessary. They were curious about the advanced technologies the humans possessed, seeing both potential danger and opportunity. Prepare a response, Zorith told Pelora. Tell them we will consider a limited exchange of information, but keep our defenses at the ready. We must not appear weak. As Pelora sent the reply, the crew of the Silent Claw remained vigilant, their senses attuned to any threat that might materialize from the void. On the Vindicator, the mood was equally tense but cautiously optimistic when Alara received the Krealaxian response. They're cautious, but willing to engage further, she analyzed, reading between the lines of the formal and guarded message. Let's prepare our next communication carefully. We need to build trust without exposing vulnerabilities. As both ships hovered on the brink of conflict, with the vast emptiness of space between them, every crew member felt the weight of history pressing down upon them. Decisions made in the coming hours could either forge a path toward understanding and peace or spiral into a dark abyss from which there might be no return. The crew of the Vindicator worked through their preparations, their actions a blend of precise military training and hopeful diplomatic outreach. Similarly, the Silent Claw was a hive of activity, as strategic simulations and weapon diagnostics ran continuously. In these moments, as two civilizations teetered on the edge of a possible interstellar conflict, the depth of space around them seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the outcome of this high-stakes encounter between two powerful representatives of their respective worlds. The void between the USS Vindicator and the Silent Claw throbbed with unseen currents of tension and possibility. As both crews prepared for any eventuality, the vast silence of space around them seemed to echo with the weight of unspoken fears and untested hopes. Captain Alara Miles stood at the forefront of the Vindicator's bridge, her gaze locked on the main view screen where the image of the Krealaxian ship flickered with ghostly intermittence. The advanced stealth technology of the Silent Claw made it nearly invisible, detectable only by the occasional distortion against the backdrop of distant stars. Her hands clasped behind her back, Alara exuded a calm that belied the storm of strategies and contingencies raging in her mind. Keep our shields at optimal readiness, but power down the main weapon systems to show we are not initiating aggression, Alara instructed her crew, her voice a steady beacon amidst the swirling uncertainties. On the Silent Claw, Commander Zorith observed the Vindicator's subtle change in posture. The slight lowering of their weapon systems did not escape his notice, nor did it completely ease the knot of apprehension in his stomach. He was a warrior, bred for battle, yet the enigmatic nature of these humans intrigued him as much as it provoked caution. Maintain cloaking and shadow their movements, Zorith commanded, his voice a low growl that resonated through the quiet of the command deck. Prepare a probe. I want a closer look at their hull composition without risking a direct confrontation. As the Silent Claw launched a stealth probe, a small, nearly undetectable device that darted through space toward the Vindicator, Alara received an update from her tactical officer. Something's approaching, Captain. Small, likely a probe. It's on a direct course for our starboard flank. Non-aggressive maneuvers only. Let's not spook them, Alara responded, knowing full well the probe's likely intent. She turned to her communications officer, Inside Jiro. Open a channel. Let's remind them that we're here under peaceful intentions and acknowledge their need to verify our claims. In the cold vastness between the two star ships, Alara's voice broadcasted with a clarity born of diplomatic resolve. Commander Zorith, we detect your probe and understand your need for caution. We reaffirm our peaceful intentions and are prepared to cooperate fully. Zorith listened to the transmission, his expression unreadable. The human captain continued to surprise him with her openness and tact. With a slight nod, he ordered the probe's retrieval. Analyze the data but maintain our defensive stance. Let's not underestimate them. Meanwhile, aboard the Vindicator, preparations were underway for a potential escalation. Dr. Lena Briggs, the chief science officer, approached Captain Miles with an update on their own scans of the Krealaxian ship. Their stealth technology is sophisticated, but there are vulnerabilities in their energy dispersion patterns. If it comes to a confrontation, we might have a slim advantage there. Alara took in the information, weighing her options. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Doctor. Keep monitoring and let me know if there are any changes. The standoff continued, with both ships floating in the oppressive silence of space, each crew acutely aware of the other's capabilities and intentions. It was a high-stakes dance of diplomacy and strategy, where each move could either pave the way for peaceful coexistence or spiral into destructive conflict. As hours passed, the tension seemed to crystallize into a fragile sort of understanding. Neither side wished to make the first aggressive move, yet both remained prepared for any eventuality. In the depths of space, surrounded by the eternal night, the USS Vindicator and the Silent Claw existed in a momentary bubble of cautious peace. Their standoff a testament to the complexities of interstellar relations and the enduring hope for a future where words might outweigh weapons. As the standoff continued into the silent hours of the cosmos, the tension that had once crackled like static electricity between the USS Vindicator and the Silent Claw began to evolve into a cautious but palpable dialogue. The initial mistrust that had shadowed every communication gave way to a more measured exchange of information, as each side tentatively probed the other's intentions. Captain Alara Miles convened a meeting with her senior officers in the strategy room, where the air was thick with the weight of impending decisions. The walls, lined with screens displaying star maps and the current positions of both ships, served as a stark reminder of the delicate dance they were engaged in. "We have a chance here," Alara began, her voice steady, her eyes moving across the faces of her trusted crew. "A chance to turn this precarious standoff into a stable bridge of communication. Let's not squander it with hasty actions. We need to offer something of value to show our commitment to peace." Her diplomatic advisor, Hammond, suggested, "Perhaps we could share some of our cultural achievements. Music, art, even some non-sensitive technological education. It could go a long way in humanizing us to them." Alara nodded thoughtfully. "Prepare a cultural package, Hammond. Something that represents the best of humanity. And include an invitation for Commander Zorth to discuss further agreements on neutral territory." Meanwhile, aboard the Silent Claw, Commander Zorth faced his own council of war-hardened officers and skeptical advisors. The data retrieved by their probe had provided a deeper insight into the humans' capabilities and, more importantly, their potential for peaceful exploration. "Captain Miles proposes a cultural exchange," Zorth announced, studying the reactions of his crew. She suggested as a gesture of goodwill. "They are also inviting me to discuss further diplomatic relations. We must decide our response." His chief strategist, a veteran named Vorek, who bore the scars of many battles, spoke up. "This could be a trap, Commander. Or it could be the opportunity we've been waiting for to secure our position in this sector without bloodshed." Zortha's gaze was like flint, hard and unyielding. "I am aware of the risks, Vorek, but I am also aware of the potential benefits. We will proceed with caution." Back on the Vindicator, preparations were underway to transmit the cultural package. Dr. Lena Briggs, alongside Hammond, curated a selection of Earth's classical music, digital reproductions of famous artworks, and documentaries about human history and philosophy. As the package was transmitted, along with the invitation for further talks, Alara addressed her crew. "Regardless of the outcome, we have extended a hand in peace. Let's hope it is reciprocated." On the Silent Claw, as the cultural artifacts from humanity were reviewed, the Krealaxians found themselves intrigued and somewhat disarmed by the expressions of human creativity and thought. Zorth himself experienced a grudging respect for the depth and sensitivity of the content, which challenged his preconceptions about humans. After a lengthy deliberation, Zorth responded to Alara's invitation. "We accept your gesture of goodwill and agree to meet to discuss terms of peace and cooperation." The meeting was set to occur on a small, uninhabited planetoid equidistant from both ships. As both leaders prepared for the historic meeting, their crews worked diligently to ensure that every precaution was taken. The upcoming talks represented a fragile opportunity, a thin ray of hope that diplomacy might prevail over conflict. In the vast, echoing silence of space, the two ships maintained their positions, a testament to the cautious optimism that now linked them. The upcoming dialogue on neutral ground would test the sincerity of both sides, potentially heralding a new era of understanding or confirming the deep-seated fears that had long divided their species. The uninhabited planetoid chosen for the meeting, known simply by its coordinates as Series 9, floated serenely in the void, a silent witness to a potentially historic accord. Its surface, a tapestry of grays and blues, was marked by the scars of ancient meteor strikes and the gentle swirls of mineral deposits, offering a neutral backdrop to the delicate negotiations ahead. As the shuttles from both the USS Vindicator and the Silent Claw made their descent, the stark beauty of Series 9 came into view, crags and gorges painting a rugged landscape under the light of a distant sun. The meeting site, a clear plateau near the equator, had been agreed upon as the venue, prepared only with a simple pavilion that housed a round table, symbolizing equality and openness. Captain Alara Miles stepped out of her shuttle, her uniform immaculate, her posture embodying the solemnity of the occasion. She was greeted by the sight of Commander Zorth and his entourage, emerging from their own craft. The Krealaxian commander was an imposing figure, his features marked by the chiseled lines of duty and survival, yet there was a cautious curiosity in his eyes as he approached. Commander Zorth, Alara greeted, extending her hand in a gesture of human goodwill. Zorth hesitated for a moment before accepting, his own hand cool and firm. Captain Miles, he replied, his voice carrying a hint of respect. This meeting is a testament to the courage of both our peoples. Let us proceed with the hope that courage will lead to understanding. Together, they walked towards the pavilion, their crews following at a respectful distance. Once seated, the talks began with an exchange of formalities and affirmations of peaceful intentions. Alara spoke first, her voice clear and composed. We stand at a crossroads in history. Today, we can choose to forge a path of cooperation or retreat into the shadows of suspicion and conflict. I choose cooperation. I propose we establish a framework for sharing knowledge, scientific, cultural, and technological, with safeguards to ensure both our peoples benefit equally. Zorth listened intently, his eyes never leaving Alaris. After a moment of consideration, he responded, "Your words resonate with wisdom, Captain. The Krealax Confederation values strength, but we also recognize the strength in alliances. I am authorized to negotiate terms for an initial exchange of information. However, trust must be earned over time." The discussion that followed was meticulous and thorough. Both leaders explored various proposals, from joint scientific ventures to cultural exchanges. Agreements were drafted, protocols established, and mutual assurances given. A communication link between the two ships would remain open, monitored by both sides, as a symbol of the newfound connection. As the sun on Ceres 9 dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows over the meeting site, Alara and Zorth stood once more. "Today, we have taken the first steps toward a future that our descendants might share in peace," Alara said, looking towards the darkening sky. Zorth nodded, his expression one of reserved optimism. "Indeed, Captain. Let us proceed carefully, but let us also proceed with the hope that today marks the beginning of that shared future." With a final handshake, the leaders returned to their shuttles, leaving the planetoid behind. In the solitude of space, the USS Vindicator and the Silent Claw resumed their stations, no longer as wary adversaries but as cautious new allies, their paths illuminated by the potential of shared stars. As the shuttles ascended, the crews of both vessels watched the fading planetoid, its silent, rugged beauty a lasting image of the day's profound possibilities. The horizon of space, once a frontier of the unknown, now beckoned with the promise of shared exploration and mutual respect, a new chapter in the cosmic journey of two civilizations.